there. You're tuned in to the Inspired Hive podcast, where we bring together a community of leaders, creators, and innovators. Each episode is inspired by targeted conversation and power insights that will help you thrive in business and life. If you're ready to level up your leadership and fuel your success, you're in the right place. I am so excited to be chatting today with Shawna Suckow. She is a no BS keynote speaker and a marketing rebel who walks the talk. She's the friend that will always tell you if you have spinach stuck in your teeth. And in the world of marketing, this really equates to being on a quest to helping us all get out of those seas of sameness. She's the owner of The Buyer Inside, and she is on a mission to help small businesses stand out and win customers by leveraging our uniqueness and size as a true natural advantage. I met Shawna a few years ago when the universe planted us next to each other on a Delta flight, and her bubbly personality, her creative wit, and her love of fuchsia pink drew me in right away. I've been inspired by what she puts out in the world, and I'm honored to be a part of her journey. I am so filled with gratitude for you joining us today, Shawna, and I know that all the listeners will get some amazing nuggets from this episode. Welcome to the Inspired Hive podcast.
Thank you, Margot. That is like the best introduction ever. I feel like I could just leave now and everything would be great.
Well, the universe has truly pulled us together. We're finding out every time we get together or meet that we somehow have this coordinating outfit, style, approach. There's just so much. And I couldn't think of a better timing and a better person to bring on to chat with folks, to just really hear about what you have going. And I know there's some cool things just rolling out, but I'd love to start with where your story began.
Wow. And I just want to say for your audience that we did not plan the
You
coordinated
did not.
outfits today for anybody who's watching this somewhere. But
It
yeah, we
just
didn't plan.
happens. This is what happens.
It's like the second or third time it's happened. So it's crazy. My story began, um, professionally speaking, my story began back in college when I dreaded public speaking class. It
Uh,
made me physically sick to walk in the doors of that class. I hated it. And I never in a million years thought I would be a speaker or anything to do with being on stage. I preferred to be backstage. But
mm,
life, I say life is gonna life, and it sure did. And I wrote my first book. I was a corporate buyer, and I wrote my first book just as a way to help my friends who were selling and marketing at me, people who had become friends over the years, just to be helpful to them and say, if you approached it this way, I think your customers would be a lot more receptive and you wouldn't get ghosted as much. And man, that started this ball rolling that was unstoppable, where the phone started ringing and people were saying, can you come and speak to our group? And oh my gosh, I struggled for a year until finally I realized this is A, what I need to be doing, and
mm.
B, it's not about me, it's about how I can help them. And once I got out of my own way, I can't imagine doing anything else now.
Oh my gosh. I love that. And I love that, that pressure was there and you finally leaned in, and then all these other things have kind of come about from that. It's so interesting how the universe does this. What inspires you?
My daughter inspires me.
Mm,
She's an artist, but she's got such integrity around that passion that she doesn't want a job doing art because she doesn't want somebody like a boss to tell her how to do the art. And so she's really protecting her passion so she doesn't get burned out on it. So that inspires me. People who are kind, for kindness sake, inspire me. Small business owners inspire me every day because um, they just they just want to succeed and they just want to do right by themselves, their families, their customers. And so I get it from a lot of different places, I would say.
What do you think inspired you to lean in to those kind of opportunities or things that came in your journey?
Hearing that I was helpful, like something I knew that I took for granted was incredibly helpful to other people. Like in the groups I was speaking to, I started out speaking just to little small groups because I did not want to be on a stage. So I would just be like, I will come speak if I can sit at a boardroom and we just have a conversation. And the more I did that, and people would come up to me and be like, I never thought of it that way. I was like, I have a story to tell. I have things that can help other people. I need to not gatekeep that because of fear. And so I just started doing it more, saying yes more when it was really uncomfortable. And believe me, I was terrible at first. Like, I can't believe I ever got hired back or again. But the more I just, like I said, got out of my own head, got out of my own way, and made it about serving the audience, then everything changed. Like my presentation style got super comfortable, and I just realized I don't want to perform on stage. I want to connect.
Mm.
And so I just rethought kind of everything that was in my head about what it should be, got rid of all that, and I just made it my own. Yeah, it's been a journey.
You're so personable and so easy to connect with that I can see how that can very easily grow from a stage to an audience member. As I'm reading through an early release, I'm recognizing a lot of that friend conversation. And I think it's such an important quality because people sometimes can't hear what they need to know if it's coming from a book or it's coming from the expert. But when it's coming from a friend, it's
Yeah.
so much easier.
I don't ever want people to feel bad that they're doing it wrong. I want them to feel inspired that they can do things differently in a way that's going to be easier and less stressful. And that's the type of marketing that I teach for small businesses. Thank you, by the way, for being a for reading that pre-release copy.
I'm really excited for what you have coming. And I mean, we could just transition right into that of bragging on yourself for a little bit here of what is coming out. And I want to chat a little about that.
So yes, I'm so proud of this book. This is my seventh book, which seems just unbelievable to me. But it's called Small is Your Superpower. It is about how now is the era for small businesses to really be able to compete with any size business because people everywhere across North America were just exhausted by the posturing and the polish, and we just want connection with each other. And that translates into having a connection with a business because it doesn't feel like a business. It feels like a trusted kind of partner who's helping me solve an issue or change something or whatever. And so it's all just about being more human, out humaning the competition is what I call it. So I'm so proud of this book, like no other book of mine that I've written. And this one just feels so much different. I think because of the intent. Nobody writes books to get rich. Like, I suppose if that's all you do and you're a prolific author, you do, but I didn't write any of my books to make money, but I wrote them to be helpful and, you know, stay ahead of um, marketing challenges that people are having because I have them too. I've owned my own business since '99, one business or another. And so, but this one, I'm really approaching it as I want it to get into as many hands as possible. and not just the book, but the lessons and the strategies, because I think small businesses are up for a struggle. I want them to have as easy a road as possible.
Well, and I appreciate so much that you walk that walk as a small business owner, right? And so having expertise within the field, but also having that business sense and knowledge is so powerful and different from the corporate. Big businesses are not necessarily understanding us little folks
No,
and or what we want, need, or are inspired by. And it's very hard to kind of transition that old model of what everybody's been trained on in how to connect and how to sell. And you have a whole different approach and strategy.
I feel like I do because it- big businesses, they are by nature impersonal. They can't connect like a small business can because they're serving thousands, millions of customers. And so I feel like the way for small businesses to succeed is just stop trying to posture and seem bigger, which I was very guilty of too. Try to every business I had, I thought I had to seem like it's a multi-million dollar business. People these days, because of the trust crisis in our country, 98% of people that I polled said they distrust businesses more than just 10 years ago. So it's not about being this big entity anymore because we don't trust that. We trust people that we connect with. And so it's all about connecting with your prospects and staying connected with your customers and just having conversations and pulling back the curtain and showing them what I call the messy middle. I didn't coin that, but like how does this is a bad example. How does the sausage get made? We don't we probably don't want to see that, but you know um, being vulnerable and showing the times when things aren't perfect and showing behind the scenes stuff and not just the perfect end result because we don't trust perfect anymore either.
Right. It's like taking them along on the journey with you of the book writing or the speaking engagements and the behind the scenes of how that all comes together.
Yeah, and for any business, I don't know why a dentist just popped into my head, but if you're a dentist, um, dentists market so impersonally.
Hmm.
A lot of companies get stuck in the rut of saying the same thing as all their competitors, and dentists are pretty much they fall into the same thing, the same kind of words, phrases, etc. Wouldn't it be cool if a dentist just said, hey, like a straight talking to video, no perfect lighting, no perfect background, but just a series of videos where they just say, hey, I had a patient come in today and they were terrified. And I get it. And telling those stories that are relatable and showing like I just learned that my dentist can do a crown while you wait. Ask me how I know. How cool would that be to just see that happening or to meet your hygienist not when you've got tools in your mouth, humanize that instead of being like this perfect veneer.
Yes, I got that one.
But any business can do it. And we crave it. We crave real and we just I talk about everybody has a BS meter. Ours, as consumers today, is just on high alert. We are skeptical, we're distrustful. We expect businesses to let us down.
Well,
And
it's
ugh,
such a good point because they're so big. There are some businesses you can't even contact a real human person anymore. And so it's so depersonalized that it's frustrating as the consumer or the user or, anybody trying to even purchase from such a
yeah,
company, right?
yep.
The pendulum is kind of swinging all the way back to it's not mom and pop now, it's kids at the lemonade stand who now have grown up a little, but they're we want to go talk to the person to really find out, or we want to touch the stuff that maybe we're buying. We really, I think, are starting to swing back that other way. And I'm so glad you talk about that human connection because that's really fundamentally what it all comes back to. And we somehow have gotten so far from that this
Yeah,
maybe past 5 years.
I agree. Yeah, it's just the past 5 years have changed everything, and it's only accelerating.
Hmm.
Things are changing so rapidly now. It's frustrating for any small business to keep up with technology, with AI, with all the tools out there, all the customer behavior that's shifting. And meanwhile, they're wearing all the hats as a small business owner, and it's just it's so much to stay on top of. So I just want to make it easy. If I can unburden that part of their journey as a business owner, whew, that's huge for me.
It is. It's a big deal because I think a lot of people are in that comparison mode still too of I have to look and be and do the same way as, who they're watching or, you know, the space, the market that they're trying to be in. And I love how you break it down into really recognizing what we have ourselves that's our superpowers. So
Yeah.
I
I
so
uh, I was
appreciate it.
speaking to a group of a state association of realtors. And it was all about giving yourself permission to be who you are, owning your weirdness, your quirkiness, and standing for something, not trying to be everything to everybody because then you're nothing special to anybody. Who are you? Who is your exact right customer? If you could have only one type of customer that just brings you joy and makes your work, the crazy hours all worth it, what type of customer would that be? And I was talking to this young woman in the audience. It's really hard to start out as a young person in a really crowded field of real estate. And she was wearing a sweater, a cardigan. She was so professional looking. She took it off and she's covered in beautiful tattoos, sleeves. And she said, I've worked with a couple tattoo artists and helped them find homes, and I loved it. Like they're my people. She's like, I never thought about making that my market.
I
Can you
love it.
imagine? I mean, if she became known as the go-to person in that niche, she would have a line of customers who that's all they need to know is they've got that in common with her. There's instant trust, there's instant likability, they have something to talk about. Whereas, a lot of other realtors, they just put their face on a bench at a bus stop with nothing personal.
Right? Except the
And
seat.
yeah, and
Yeah.
think that that's a way to get business. And it used to be, but now it's like figure out who your exact right customers are, market to them, talk to them. Like attracts like, and what a pleasure would it be if you only had to work with people that you just are so passionate about serving.
It's a big aha for all sorts of professionals. The concept is we have to do it for everybody, whatever we're doing, because there isn't enough of the single kind of focus. And that's such a misconception.
That's interesting because the broadened focus is a limiting mindset.
It
But
is.
when you limit your focus, you broaden your reputation, your visibility. Uh, I just heard of a dentist who specializes in neurodiverse children. So not only are they narrowing their focus to neurodiverse people, they're narrowing it further to neurodiverse children. And you can bet in that community that
Mhm.
word travels. Like parents would drive past
Yep.
all kinds of other dentists who are generic to get to that one that they know gets them and understands their kids' challenges and probably has all kinds of methods and tools and distractions and things to make that a pleasant visit for the kid, which makes it a lot more pleasant for the parent. I understand the safety in being all things to all people. I get that. But what if you were brave enough to say, this is who I want to serve? And you went
Mhm.
all in on that and you made your marketing about that. That's the stuff that gets forwarded. And I love how you have your own niche too, as far as who you've defined that you love to serve. And anytime I think of or I come across somebody who's a good fit, of course I'm going to think of you, as opposed to your competitors who are just, you know, up for hire by anybody.
Hmm.
They don't get the same referrals.
Yeah. I think sometimes we're in that kind of mindset where we don't recognize we've got these special skills or tools that we just think everybody knows this stuff.
Mhm.
And once we recognize that, oh no, they don't, like, okay, we've got a market then
Yeah.
that, or we've got a gap in a market that really was kind of what got me into doing this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. And kudos to you for recognizing it and realizing what fuels you
Hmm.
and what you're good at. And when those two things intersect, that is where I think real magic happens because your passion shows and your audience finds you. That's the convergence that I think I would wish for all the small businesses out there. Aren't you going to do better work? I mean, I know you do great work for anybody, but there's just that 1% where you're like extra. You're like, "Oh my gosh, yes. I'm so
A
happy to be
different
working with this
connection.
person."
Who do you follow or gain your inspiration from?
Oh, well, uh, I discovered this really cool thing using ChatGPT, and I think I've talked to you about this, where I
Mhm.
created my own virtual board of advisors that it's populated by personalities, like big personalities, thought leaders, experts, and I can go into chat and say I want to convene a meeting of my board of directors, and Richard Branson shows up, Rory Sutherland shows up, Ari Meisel shows up, like all these people that I've curated that I really respect, and some because I asked where are my gaps, and ChatGPT somehow recommended that I get an ADHD productivity coach. Best suggestion ever. And so I surround myself with people who inspire me, and through chat, I'm able to ask them questions and get their advice. I know it's not real, but it's drawing on their expertise that they've got out there in the world. And so it's the next best thing because I doubt I'm going to have lunch with Richard Branson anytime soon. But if you're looking at this now, Richard,
We'll both take you to lunch.
yeah.
Oh
So
my
yeah.
goodness. This is like a gigantic honeypot right here. I have not ever I've thought about like, and populated some, and I use Gemini, but I populated some of my own coaching into that to coach myself. But
Mhm.
I've never thought to bring in some others. Holy buckets. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it, these these are ways of the tools of technology that can really be helpful for us as we are competing against them in so many ways that are unhelpful. So I love that. I love that you shared that. Thank you so, so much.
I thought I had talked to you about that last time we saw each other, but it has changed my perspective because, when you're a solopreneur, you can kind of work in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And it's given me outside perspective that otherwise I would have struggled to get because I don't have, I've got a mastermind group, but these are just outside of that perspective as
Hmm.
well. And so
Well, and from, folks you wouldn't typically be able to access.
I put, when I built it, I said, don't always agree with me, challenge me. And
Interesting.
that is good too, because
Yes.
I don't know it all. And I always want to be open to other perspectives and, that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Well, and that's your brand of, tell me what I need to know, not what I want to hear, right? Like, and you
Yeah.
do it in ways that are friendly and collegial, but so important and helpful.
Yeah, I just don't want to be in an echo chamber of like my own awesomeness. Like, just tell me you agree with everything and how smart I am. And wait a minute, maybe I do need a GPT for that
You
when
have
I'm having
two.
a bad day.
One for the hard days, one for the days where you really want to
Yeah,
make.
call it the rainy day GPT, and I'll just yeah.
I love it. I love it. I also have detected some Simon Sinek and Mel Robbins in your approach and flow of things. And so I know that that may be part of, or maybe you don't know that those are things that are coming through in your work. So,
Yeah, no, both very respected. Mel, I had on my board of directors. I change them out depending on like where I'm at, what I need. So it's not just always the same people. And Mel was on there for a while. I have not had Simon on as I've been working on my book. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that everything, came from me.
right.
And I didn't go, oh, hey, that's a great idea. I should put that in the book. And then it turns out it's, Simon's or
Shawna, what is the biggest lesson that you've been blessed with?
that I am not for everybody.
Mm,
And that also changed my whole journey. When I was starting out as a new speaker, I couldn't imagine why anybody wouldn't want to hire me. Actually, I could because I was terrible. But when I finally embraced that I want to do this for a living, I was so generic. And I was trying to be like well, Jill Conrath, who was a mentor of mine, who was like this best-selling author. And somebody said to me one time, "You sound like Jill Conrath." And I said, "Who's that?" And I looked her up and I was like, "I sound like her? Okay, I could be her." And I tried to be a mini Jill Conrath, and it was nothing
mm,
about like who I really am. We share a lot of the same approaches, but that is where the similarity ended. And when I finally realized, it was through a horrible engagement that I had with, it's in the automotive industry, a bunch of automotive dealership owners, and it was a horrible fit for me. And I was a horrible fit for them. It was just, and I was like, wow, okay, I
mm,
can't say yes to everything.
mhm.
And I need to be more clear on who I do help best and and who I am. And that changed everything for me. Like, gave myself permission to just really be who I am and attract the people who resonate with that. And it repels everybody else, and that's okay because they're going to have a bad experience. They're probably going to give you bad ratings, which has nothing to do with you. It just was a mismatch.
Mhm.
And they're not the ones that are going to refer you. They're not going to become your best champions.
Yeah, it's almost like detraction marketing, right? That I am not for you.
Yeah.
And I often start talks with some of that because the approach I take is so much different than what they typically are expecting. And I think very similarly, learning to know who's not your audience and not try to work with
Yeah.
them or impress them or, contribute in that way is so powerful.
We all should do that in business too.
Mhm. As we're wrapping up, I wonder if there's one piece of advice that you'd like to leave the listeners with. Maybe it's something someone shared with you or that you learned in a challenging way.
You said something at the beginning that made me think of the butterfly,
Mm,
which has been on my mind oh, you said becoming. And that triggered this memory of mine because 2 years ago, that was my word for the year. What I would say is don't just focus on the butterfly. The caterpillar is the one that does all the work. And if you are in your caterpillar phase, cool. That means you're being incredibly brave. You are maybe stepping into the unknown and you're not certain what it's going to look like on the other side. You just know that where you are right now is not who you're supposed to be. And so, embracing that and being proud to be the caterpillar because you're going to go through a period of change. And that requires a lot of bravery. And man, that whole year was defined by that. And I think that's my next tattoo is going to be a caterpillar to remind me I went through that. I embraced that and I was brave. And did it suck? Sometimes, yeah. I turned into goo like a caterpillar does. But on the other side of that, man, I'm glad I went through it.
Yeah. I love it. And, Journey to CEO really has the butterfly on the other side
Yeah.
as my logo. So,
And that's cool too,
um,
because that's the end goal that you're teaching
yeah,
people. You
yeah,
know, and the process may not be pretty, but you've got that defined end goal of being a CEO. I didn't know what mine was. So
yeah,
mine was more about the transition into the unknown, but you've got the known and you show them how to get there. So I
yeah.
love that.
Oh, thank you. It has been such a pleasure to share some time with you today. And as I end all the episodes, I selected a quote. Actually, I selected two quotes because I knew there was some superpowers that we were summoning today. One of the quotes is from Superman, and it says, "There is a superhero in all of us. We just need the courage to put on the cape." And, it just summarizes so much of the things that we've talked about today. I pick them ahead. I never know exactly what we're chatting through, but it
Yeah.
always comes to be that it's a great summary. And the other one I want to share, my favorite superhero is Wonder Woman.
Uh,
And for many years, I have empowered imagery and focus around that kind of concept of Wonder Woman. But the quote is, because no matter how small an act of kindness or generosity or simple positivity you put out into the world, it will make a difference. And it's such a capture of what you put out into the world, Shawna, that, this comes from your heart. And I think that's part of what makes this book so special for you. I'm just so grateful that you put on your cape and have the courage to
yeah.
bring out the superhero in all of us. So thank you for being here. Thanks so much for joining me today on the Inspired Hive podcast. Stay connected by following us at Inspired Hive Podcast on social media. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring content. I'll see you soon. And remember, go be inspired.